Okay, first grade, congratulations. We're on our third and final yarn painting practice. This one is the spiral. This one is the most difficult, but we've had some practice already, so hopefully after the other two practices, this one won't seem as hard. Before we can start with the yarn and the glue, just like on the other two, please write your first name. Remember, I write the word first and name just as a reminder. Please write your last name. Again, you don't have to write the word last or name. Just write as much of your last name as you can. If you can only do the first letter or the first two letters, that's still extremely helpful to me as I have 7 first grade classes this year. And lastly, your class code. You do not have to write the word class or the word code. Just look up at the front of the board. Your class code will be on the board. Just like our practice shape inside of a shape, we will be using purple and green yarn. Remember, grabbing 2 at a time is the perfect amount. You don't need more than that. You can always go and get more if you run out. The last thing we need is kids grabbing huge handfuls and getting them full of glue or having them dropped all over the place. 2 green, 2 purple. When you run out, you can get more. You'll be using your cup of glue and your brush. Remember, the brush should stay on the table the whole time. We don't want to leave it inside of the glue. Don't leave it on the cup either, because other kids are trying to get glue and they'll knock your brush over. If you're doing this right, there shouldn't be much glue on your brush at all, so putting it on the table shouldn't make a big mess, because you're only putting a small amount of glue on your brush. To start off, we are going to start on top of this red dot that I put at the center. So I'm going to get some glue, dip, just the tip, spin the brush so it doesn't drip. Again, we're not getting glue all over the handle, because once it gets on the handle, it gets on our hands, and once it gets on our hands, it gets everywhere. The more glue we start getting inside, the more our hairs will start to fall out. So remember, just a small amount. You can always get more. We're going to start by just brushing over the area where the red dot is. Again, brush can go on the side. There shouldn't be much glue on the brush anyways. We're going to go ahead and start with green, and we're going to take the very end of the green, and we're just going to push and hold it on the red dot for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's down, nice and good. And I'm just going to start spinning it around the dot as if I was making a snail or a cinnamon roll. Once I have it, I'm going to push and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I have enough glue, which I don't, I will add a little bit more, going around in a circle. And this is probably going to be a technique that you're going to be wanting to use if you did any of the lollipop trees. So I want to go from green to purple. So I'm going to start going around my green, pushing and holding to a count of 5. And as soon as I get to purple, again, I want to stop because I want this to be a swirl. I don't want it to be like the shape inside of a shape that we just did. It's going to be a swirl. So when you get to your next color, you'll stop. So this is going to work out nicely for this one, but as the circle gets bigger and bigger, it's not always going to end up this nice. So I don't need to cut. I don't need to do anything. My purple stopped when my purple ended. I'll grab a little bit more glue. I'll go around in a circle. I just got done with purple, so I'm back to green. So where my purple stopped, I will start with my green. Don't forget to push and hold as you work your way around. So I did not get back to my green yet, so I don't want to go back to purple. Otherwise, I'm just going to have half of this purple and half of it green. So I need to continue with my green until I get to green. I'll grab 2 more green, 1 more purple. I'm going to grab a little bit more glue. I'm going to start where I ended off, so it looks like it's all one piece. But once I get to green again, I need to stop. So I got to my green and now I stop. So I have the same 2 choices as I did before. I can either cut it by pushing it all the way into my scissors and sawing at it until it comes off, or I can go backwards and glue it onto the green that I just did. So I'm going to do that because I have troubles cutting with scissors sometimes with the yarn. So I'll grab a little bit of glue and I'm just going to go backwards. So a little bit of glue on the green yarn. I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it back on top of the green, and I want to push and hold firmly so that it flattens out. So even in person, not on the video, it looks like it's still the same piece of yarn. It's just glued on top of it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start back with purple. I did not make it all the way around to my purple yet, so I'll grab another purple and I'm going to keep going. And that was nice because just like the first piece, my purple is stopping where my purple started. So I don't need to cut or glue anything. I can just go ahead and move on to green. Again, I want to do green until I get back to green. So I need another piece. I got pretty close, but I did not get all the way to the green, so I need a little bit more. So again, when you get back to where you started, you have two choices. You can either glue it backwards on top of the green, or you can cut it with the scissors. And for this one, I'm going to show you how that works. I'm just going to put it in as far as it'll go and cut it and push it down. And now I have a smaller green that I can use. Later, and I can go ahead and do purple again. Trees. So don't worry about going to the edges. I just didn't want to sit there and cut all of these pieces of paper for practice for everyone. So as soon as it touches the left and the right, you can be done, because then we have a nice round circle which can be used for your lollipop Unterwassen trees on your landscape for next week. So I guess if you want to take scissors and you want to cut your circle out, you can cut your circle out, but you do not have to. All the practices are now done. After you're done with these, next week you'll go ahead and you'll start working on the videos and your landscape.